In this video I'm going to show you how to set up the Workspace app for HTML5. What the Workspace app for HTML5 does is it allows us to launch our Citrix apps and desktops through HTML5 enabled web browser, which is pretty good solution if you can't get the Receiver or Workspace app to endpoints. Like kiosk machines, or if you've got no control over the endpoints, and you can't get the native Windows Receiver or Workspace app installed. This is a decent solution. There is some limitations around printing and drive redirection and clipboard, so it's imperative that you read the feature matrix. If you download the Receiver Workspace app feature matrix, you can come through here and you can check all the features, and you can check if they're compatible with the HTML5 Workspace app. So you can see there is some critical things that's not supported. I'll just pick out a couple of these. Adaptive Transport EDT, you can see that's not supported with HTML5. Let's pick another one. Webcam redirection, so if you're using things like Teams, you won't be able to use webcams. You can see that's not supported within the HTML5 Workspace app. So it's critical to check this. Make sure you confirm on this that everything is needed, and the HTML5 Workspace app supports what you need. The next thing I would do is you want to always have the latest version of the Workspace app for HTML5. This is installed on your storefront servers. So I've got storefront 1912 CU2 at the moment, which comes with 2009. 2011 is the latest, so I've just downloaded that. To install it, literally you just connect to your storefront server, extract it, run the setup, and literally that's all that it does. You don't need to do anything else. It just updates automatically, just running that executable. So nice and simple. There is one other thing as well if you're planning on using the HTML5 Workspace app. It's to do with the Websocket Connections. If you've got internal users connecting directly to storefront, WebSocket connections to your VDAs will not be possible unless you've got SSL certificates on your VDAs and you're encrypting the connection to the VDAs using SSL. So the easiest way to get around that is just to use the NetScaler to proxy the connection to the VDAs, because it will be encrypted in TLS. WebSocket connections are supported through the NetScaler. All you need to do is make sure that port 8008 is open from the SNP on the NetScaler to the VDAs. You can also, if you've got internal clients connecting directly to storefront, you can use Citrix Optimal Gateway routing. So even though they authenticate and connect directly to storefront, as soon as they launch an application, that can be then routed rather than directly from the Receiver Workspace app to the VDA. It can be routed through the gateway and proxied through the gateway and encrypted with TLS. So that's an option that I do quite a lot. It's in the Optimal Gateway routing config within storefront. You just need to make sure that internal connections go through the gateway. So yeah, that's something to consider as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the policies that is required to set this up within Studio. So I'm going to create a new Citrix policy, and the specific settings that we need is WebSockets. So we need to enable WebSocket connections. So I'm going to allow that. The default is it's prohibited. The port number, as I mentioned, 8008. We've got to make sure that's open from the NetScaler, from the SNP to the VDA subnet. So we'll use the default port. The next thing I like to do as well is to create the universal PDF printer. So what this does is it allows printing when you're using the Workspace app for HTML5. It creates a PDF printer within the session, and basically you can print to that, and then the document gets transferred to your local client where you can then print it natively to your printer. This is the only way to get printing working within the HTML5 client. So yeah, I always enable this as well, so make sure that's enabled. Click on OK, click on Next. We'll just do it to all objects in the site for this demo. You would typically do it to a delivery group, filter the policy to a delivery group. I'm just going to give this policy a name, so we'll just call it HTML5. Click on finish, and then one thing we need to do is just make sure the policy is enabled, so we'll enable that. We'll then increase the priority just to make it priority 1, just to make sure that it definitely applies. The next thing we need to do is on our storefront servers, within the storefront console on the store. If we edit the receiver for web settings, click on configure. Under deploy Citrix Receiver Workspace app, you have to basically use either of these two options at the top. Always use receiver for HTML5, or only use receiver for HTML5 if the local Citrix Receiver Workspace app isn't available. So this is like a fallback option if the endpoints don't have the native receiver or workspace app. It can then fall back to HTML5. In this lab, just because we want to fully test it and I'll show it you, I'm just going to set it to always use receiver for HTML5. In a production environment, you would use the middle option more than likely. So that's that. You can have this to launch apps in the same tab. We'll have it in a separate tab. So we'll just click on OK, click on close, and then obviously you would propagate that to the other storefront servers within your server group. My other storefront server is not powered on at the moment, hence the propagation errors. But you would also do that as well when you install the Workspace app, the updated Workspace app for HTML5 client on your storefront servers. Make sure you're propagating those changes. So that's it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you basically this in action. That's all we need to do from a configuration point of view. We've updated it to the latest version on our storefront servers. We've enabled the policy, and we've configured the storefront store to use the HTML5 workspace app. So I'm going to go now to my Netscaler gateway URL. I'll wait for that to load. Okay, I'm just going to put my username in. Okay, I'm just being redirected now using my SAML policy to Azure AD. I'm just going to authenticate it there. Okay, I'm just going to approve the MFA on my phone. Okay, now pass through to storefront, and we should have our apps and desktops enumerated. So I'm just going to launch this 2016 desktop. What should typically happen now is we should get a new tab, and it should launch the session within the web browser rather than launching it natively through the Windows Workspace app. So there we go. We've now got a new tab. It's now going to try connect using the Websockets connection to the VDA through the Netscaler. Give this a little bit of time just to establish the session. Okay. It's normally quicker than this. I don't know if it's the first time it's run, but normally it's a lot quicker than this. Oh, there we go. Connecting. Yeah, I think it was just the VDA getting the WebSockets policy. And there we go. You can see basically now we're logged into our VDA, to our published desktop, using the web browser. You can see the sessions running within the web browser. What I'll show you now is I'll show you some of the reduced functionality. So with the drive redirection, you don't actually get any type of drive redirection. So your local client drives, your network and optical drives from your local client are not auto created and redirected into the session. You have this feature here where you can upload and download files. So for example, if I wanted to upload a file from my local workstation, you click on upload, you choose the file, you choose where you want to save it, so I'll just put desktop, click on OK, and now you can see the file from my local workstation has been uploaded and is available within my session. It's the same for download as well. If you want to download a file to your local workstation from the VDA, you would click the download, choose your location on your local machine, and it would transfer the file. Printing, let me show you how the printing works. So if we go into Notepad, I'm just going to do test printing, file, and then print. And then what we have here is we have the Citrix PDF printer. So if we basically choose that Citrix PDF printer, click on print, what it will do, as you can see in the bottom right here, it's getting a PDF. So it's generating a PDF, and then you can see it opens in print preview. And then literally we can then choose all our local printers here on our local workstation. Actually, I don't even have any printers on my local workstation, but you get the gist. Basically, from this drop down, you'll be able to choose your local printer, USB, LPT, or network printer. Select it, click on print, and then it will print it locally. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the HTML5 for Workspace app. I'll show you the launch process again, because I say that first launch was a little bit slow. I think it was just getting the WebSockets policies. It's normally a lot quicker than that. So I'm just going to sign out, and then we'll go through the launch process again. So I'll do a reload on here, and then give it a few seconds just for my profile to be unloaded, and then we'll relaunch the desktop. So there we go. Yeah, that's typically what it's normally like. The logons are really quick. Yeah, there we go. You see now that's loaded, so we're good. So yeah, that's it. So that's the Workspace app for HTML5. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.